we conclude our Kingdom Love Story series, a celebration of marriages rooted in God's truth, order, and design. Our final story reflects wisdom, endurance, and the power of long-term commitment under God's leadership. Please welcome John and Marcia Laramore as they share their Kingdom Love story and the legacy of love built over time.
I'm John Laramore,
Hi, I'm Marcia Laramore.
and we've been married for 25 years. I met Marcia as a consequence of mutual friends of ours, and we met at this electronics shop on our road. And I gotta tell you, when I first met her, my impression was of a sturdy ship. Although this was a first-time encounter, she left an impression on me, and that impression allowed me to investigate this person that I had just encountered furthermore in the future. So it was impactful for me.
Yes, and so I would just add to what John have said. And so, yes, we would have met at an electronics store on Harold Road. So just to give it a little bit more context. And so I was getting a ride home from my colleague from the office, and she wanted to stop by the radio store to get her car radio checked. And so we stopped there, and then some of the workers from the shop came out, and John was one of the individuals who would have came in to check on the radio. So we started to have a conversation. I felt that he was a very interesting and very nice young man, and so he asked to get to know me a little bit better. And so I said, okay, that's fine. And then so he said, okay, I know you work at the bank. And I said, yes. And he said, okay, which branch? And I'm like, okay, I work at the bank. I told him the branch. So he said, okay, I need to, call you. So I said, okay, how can I get in contact with you? So I said to him, well, I work at a bank. You know what branch I work at. So in my mind, I'm thinking, if you really want to call me, you will find a way to find the number to call me. And which he did, right? And so he asked me what time to call. So I said, at that time, I was a teller at another financial institution that I am now. So he said what time to call. I said, okay, usually the bank closes at 3. I would have, continue by balancing. So I'll probably be free like 4 o'clock. And so in true fashion, he did call at 4, exactly at 4 o'clock. And I would say from that time to now, there is history. And what I can say from that, what left a lasting impression on me was John is a man of his word. So just like he said almost 32 plus years ago, I'm going to call you at 4 p.m., he has kept his word from that time to now.
I'll tell you about a particular event. During the course of our dating, I called up Marcia and I asked if she wanted to go for lunch. And she said, sure. I said, I'll pick you up in the morning.
Okay, then.
I picked her up that morning. We went to the airport. We caught a flight to Florida. I rented a car and we drove from Miami to West Palm Beach and we had lunch. So, and that is one of the wonderful times we've had.
Yes, I agreed. And so we had lunch and we were able to fly back home. So yes, we had lunch in a different country. And so from there, John is a very romantic person, very affectionate. Gift giving is truly his love language, right? And he has, like I said, from day one to now has kept and honored that.
I made some commitments early in my life as it relates to God in the direction I wanted to take at a certain age. And the time between that moment of 19 and that expected age of 30, I was kind of on the wild side when I met Marcia. And as a consequence of dating Marcia and paying attention to her calmness, her steadiness, she brought a sort of peace to my life. And I felt in my spirit with every time that we spent together, this calmness. And over time, because we dated for 7 years, and over that time, I came to realize, something, I could easily see myself spending the rest of my life with Marcia. And so we made decisions during the course of that dating to do just that. We decided On our wedding date, we decided on what it is that we wanted to do as far as God was concerned, children, education, finances. We even spoke about insurance. We talked about everything. And with every conversation, I realized, something? This would be a calming, what's the word I'm looking for, Marcia? Motivation in my life. And it was during this time I realized that she is the one for me.
Yes, and also to add to what John would have said, right? So we would have, like you said, we would have dated for almost 6 to 7 years, and so getting to know him better. But I would say it was a comment that my mom would have said to me. Of course, I trust my mom and her judgment, and she actually did say, Marcia, I hope you're serious about this young man because he is very serious about you. And I'm like, Mommy, yes, I'm serious about him. She said, because there's something about him. I think, he is the guy that's the guy for you. And based upon her confirmation, I know she's such a good judge of character as well. I, of course, decided to date, John fully, exclusively, etc. as well.
I might add, our dating even included when she went off to school. When she went off to school, I went off the Apple. So during that 7 years of dating, we both put a good deal of emphasis on our education.
Okay.
So, and that was also a learning experience. We got to know each other better during the distance. And that made it even more wonderful.
Yeah, agreed. So it really starts with a commitment, right? And so once we made a commitment to each other, even though we were dating each other, we made a commitment to each other. And so, of course, in a long distance relationship, we spent a lot of times on the phone, a lot of times writing letters. And I mean, again, John and his true romantic self. So I remember being in university and getting flowers sent over to university, getting cards, getting a letters of my roommates and everyone on the dorm floor knew who John was because they're like, okay, I'm coming to the Bahamas because if every guy in the Bahamas is as romantic as John, I'm coming to the Bahamas. So I remember getting, like I said, flowers and gifts. I remember getting a Valentine's Day card that was like this high off the floor. So I can imagine, walking across campus with this big card. So again, it starts with a commitment, right? And being faithful to each other.
And consider this, there were no iPhones.
Correct.
There was no Zoom. There was no video conference.
Yes.
There was a payphone across the street and a lot of coins.
Yes.
And it was a time that we wrote a lot of letters. And actually over the last week or two, I've actually been going through some of those letters that we wrote so many, many years ago. So, and Marcy's right, it does start with a commitment to each other. And what's not being said, and I'll say it now, it is also that commitment to God. Both part of our discussions did include God, and I came to realize that Marcia also had a similar commitment to our God, and that was also one of the reasons I said this was the right person.
I would say two core principles that has definitely helped our marriage would be one. Pastor Miles always said that it takes more than love for, marriage to work or to have a successful marriage. It really takes understanding. It also takes getting knowledge and also applying that knowledge. And so one thing that we do as a couple, we're always learning, right? We don't know everything. We're always making certain that we continue to learn and strengthen our marriage. And then secondly, Pastor Dave did an amazing series when he talked about understanding the strategies of the enemy, right? And making certain then that you're able to recognize the strategies that the enemy will have against you, your home, your family, etc. as well. And again, remember then that John is not the enemy. I'm not the enemy to him. We need to recognize who the enemy is and also know how to use the correct strategies to make sure we overcome any devices that the enemy may have against our home.
I would say a value that stands out in my mind is one of the things that Bahamas Faith Ministry has taught us is roles of husband, the roles of the wife, and how God fits into that. As long as we continue to have Christ centered in our marriage, say for example, we have a situation. Marcia could go to God, I can go to God, and God brings us together and He develops us through that situation so that there's continued growth and development. So having God and the ability to be prayerful. Both Marcy and I have this prayer routine that we do every single day, and as the years have passed by, that has been more consistent. So for the first thing that we both do when we get out of bed, we have this prayer session. And I think that has had a huge impact on our lives.
So one thing, I can say more than one, hopefully I can add two, right? Two things that I've learned from John. John has a tenacious spirit. He is resilient, right? And he constantly reminds me, even though I know this, he constantly reminds me to make certain then that I continue to have a winning mindset, right? Despite how I feel or despite the circumstances that I am experiencing, to make sure that I remain resilient and tenacious in everything that I do.
Well, I am really vision driven. I can get to that place where I forget about everything around me and just be focused on the task at hand. And I've learned from Marcia that sometimes you need to make it more practical. She's taught me patience in that. She's taught me how to be more gentle and to have an awareness that there's more to it than just the task that you're 1000% focused on. So Marcia's taught me to be more aware of my situation. She said you could be driven, but it ain't about you, and you need to recognize there's a lot going on around you. So I'll say that she's my common force, so to speak. There's one simple word for that: Christ. One of the things that I established while we was dating, there has to be some referee. And this is not a discussion we intimately had, but for me, Christ had to be at the center of our relationship. And one of the lines in the sand that we did discuss, that divorce wasn't an option. So if divorce wasn't an option and Christ was our referee, our teacher, one of the things that we decided was, one, we'll always include him in everything, no matter how difficult. He has to be a part of that discussion. And two, like Marcia said earlier, we don't know everything. And there will be times that we'll probably have to seek information and counsel from outside circle and not be afraid to have the tough discussions. So I believe that keeping Christ centered in your marriage and not being afraid to seek counsel when necessary helps you through all of the events, good and bad, as you journey through marriage. And I think that's helped us.
So in addition to what John has said, right, we determined early on in our marriage that divorce was not an option. So we committed to each other, despite how uncomfortable or how difficult it got. We will remain committed to each other. It means getting help, like John said, having those difficult conversations as a family, as a team. And again, at the end of the day, making certain then that we continue to reference Christ in everything that we do and make sure we pattern the teachings that he has outlined in the Bible as it relates to marriage.
In essence, we're not the enemy of each other. We're partners.
Yes.
And it's a God-centered arrangement.
Right. That's key. We're not the enemy. We're on the same team. And even up to now, we still say that, right? We're on the same team. We're not the enemy. He's not fighting me. I'm not fighting him. We're working for the same cause.
Let me add this. This is not a contract. This is a covenant, and this covenant is with God.
One thing I would say is that having a happy, successful marriage is possible. It is doable. It is not far-fetched. It can be done. However, it takes commitment from both parties. Both parties need to want the same thing, right? They must be able to work at marriage. They cannot quit when things get hard. And so I would say once you make the commitment to work on it and to seek help, and to support your growth during the various phases of marriage, then you will definitely have a happy and successful marriage. But a successful marriage is doable.
Well, I can take a more practical approach. I believe there are two things that are very important for every couple that wants to take this journey of marriage. One, you got to be friends. And by being friends, I'm talking about dating, I'm talking about creating moments, spending time together. This is 32 years in, 25 of them married, and Marcy and I still go on dates every other week. We take annual vacations where we spend time. It's just she and I. And now that John Thomas is older, he's not even in the picture. So our vacation this year was just me and Marcia. So you want to spend time. You got to still like your spouse.
Right.
I am still in love with Marcia to this very day. I still get excited every time I see my wife. That is an amazing thing to me, and it keeps my spirit joyous. And so if you don't like your spouse, and if you're not spending time with your spouse, that's going to be a problem. And then the second thing I would admonish, you have to have Christ at the center. If Christ isn't a part of that relationship, you may find yourself, even if you continue to grow and develop, you may find yourself doing that apart, especially if you're not friends.
I would say some things that we do to keep Christ at the center of our marriages. One, then it is that's not an option, right? It's not an option. Okay, should I keep Christ the center today? Should I not do it next week? So regardless of how busy we are, and John and I are very, very, very busy people, we make time, right, to make certain that we spend time in the presence of the Lord, whether it's praying, we commit to each other. We do confessions, right? So we do confessions together individually, and then we do confessions together as a marriage, as a team as well. So I would say you have to make time. We make time for everything else, going to the gym. We make time to go, like you say, on vacations, to go to dinner. We have to make Christ a priority in your life. So I would say that'll be my take on that.
You have to know God for yourself. And in knowing God for yourself, there are certain things that are going to come with that. First of all, you're going to not forsake the assembling of yourselves within a church. We decided that BFM would be the church for us. So the fact, over the last 25 years, Marcy and I have attended Bahamas Faith Ministry together as husband and wife. And we started that practice prior to getting married and coming here. That has been consistent throughout the years. The only thing that's changed is our seats throughout BFM based on where our son was during various different stages of his life. The second thing that I would say in terms of what we do, we actually have discussions about God, the scriptures. That is something that we do. A week doesn't go in our house that we don't have some discussion of current events and how it ties to scripture. And it's not a sermon, or it's our reality.
Right.
We simply, everything that we talk involves God. And I believe because we're both encountering God for ourselves, it allows us to share about God, about everything as early as the day. So you got to be constantly, I'll put it this way, in the scriptures they talk about David and how he was constantly communicating with God. Each time I think about those scriptures, I try to figure out, well, how would I do that today? What that looks like today? And the only thing that I could do whenever I'm in my car, instead of listening to the news, I'm listening to scriptures or something on YouVersion. Whenever I'm home working, part of my day is international news, but the better part of my day is some sort of scriptures constantly playing in the background. And that's how I stay in tune with God, how I continue to keep him with me in it. And then whenever Marcy and I get together during certain parts of the day, we're also having a discussion, not intentionally, it just comes out. I like her. I like Marcy very much.
I know I do very much too. And we have fun together. We like to be together. We do so, but we have such good chemistry. It doesn't mean that we're perfect, right? But we like spending time with each other. We are very honest with each other. We have those hard conversations, etc. And so one thing we also established then that we will always be honest with each other.
Yes.
We always said that no one from the outside should come in and tell me something. John should be the first person to tell me the same thing for him. And so we communicate well, and I cannot bypass being transparent and being honest with each other. And again, we are each other's cheerleader. I always say I'm the president and the CEO of the John Laramore fan club, right? Because there's going to be no other human that's going to support and cheer him on like I will. And he does the same for me. And so again, I would say that would be the secret to our marriage, that you really, again, must love each other, love spending time with each other, and love doing things for fun as well.
I'll concur with that. I do recall, as Marcia was talking, we did discuss integrity in our relationship and how important it would be as we continue our journey. So no matter how difficult that discussion needs to be, we promised each other that we would always be truthful and we will always have the discussion, have that art discussion. And I think that also helped during the course of our journey. In terms of what couples can take away from watching this, I would want them to take away the idea that you should always have that mindset. You want to create special moments. Over the last 25 years, and especially with the onset of the iPhone, I have created moments with my family that are special to me, special to us. Right now, I could go back over probably as far back as 97, whether it be video, which is what it is now, or even hard copy, and pick a particular moment and say, Marcy, remember when we did this? Marcy, remember when we did that? For example, I pulled out a photo of that one that we took in the Louvre in Paris on our honeymoon. And I say, Marcia, remember when we took this picture standing in front of the Mona Lisa? And what was remarkable about that was this. We just spent our vacation this year in Montreal. And we went to a museum and there was a picture of the Mona Lisa hanging in there. So we compared both pictures. So create moment, share the moment, and during those difficult times, those moments in life, you pull back on those special moments, those happy moments.
Yeah, I agree with John, right? That it is those memories that you create that, like he said, you will need to dig deeper and pull back and review when those tough times come as well. So continue to create memories as a family, as a married couple as well.
I've had an unorthodox development during the course of my life, and I believe that journey through the unpaved forest of life prepared me for when I met Marcia, because getting oneself into a marriage, you have two personalities. When you have two strong personalities and you have God centered in that, that doesn't mean you won't have challenges. We've had challenges, we endure challenges, and I believe that resilience that I learned when I brought it to the marriage, I think that helps in the commitment we have to with one another. So I would say resilience, that prepared me well for the last 32 years.
So one thing I would say would be that of patience, right? Patience, again, being able to deal with John and to deal with John and his strong personalities at some times as well, right? But again, I would say being patient. Again, he said if we had the same personality, we're both strong-willed and outspoken and very candid in our perspective, then that definitely would not work. So I was saying me having more, like you said, more of a reserve and calm and patient demeanor, it meshed well with his personality. And of course, over time, we began to grow even stronger where the two personalities became one.
I believe Marcy is being very modest here. What she's trying to say is that over time, I mellowed out, I matured, and I went through stages in my growth. And she had to have a lot of patience as we grew together. I think they say it this way, that girls mature faster than boys. We were no exception.
Correct, yes, agreed. So I'd say, well, two things that we do as a married couple. One is that we always celebrate our anniversaries, right? That might be like, oh, that's a no-brainer, right? So for us, it is not just another day. So we make certain that we're going to take that time off. We're going to spend time together. We're going to reflect how far we came, as a couple. So we definitely always prioritize our anniversary, and we always take that time off and spend time together. And then secondly, one tradition that we also do, we love to travel, and John is we're the best traveling partners is John, right? And so we travel together a lot. We love to travel, and of course, we make certain then that we take at least one vacation each year.
I made two commitments to Marcia during the first 7 years of our dating. One, I was going to be a better man every year. And two, we going on vacation every year. 25 years in, we've been to 25 different places over the last 25 years. So that's a ritual, both rituals that I've continued to do, that we've continued to do. And I believe it is important for every couple, whether they've been together for 2 days or for 50 years, you want to get away from your environment so you could refresh, recalculate, tweak, spend time with each other. And that's where the vacations come in. And I believe those two rituals have been very helpful to our marriage.
So if I could describe John as a food, I would say one of my favorite food, I would definitely refer to him as jerk chicken, right? So jerk has a bold, powerful flavor. And John is one bold individual. He has no ounce of fear, so he's definitely bold. As you know, jerk chicken is also spicy. John is a spicy young man, meaning he's very candid in his words, right? Very, very direct and very candid in his words. And so he's spicy in that regard. And of course, if you had jerk chicken and it's seasoned well, it is memorable. You cannot forget it. And if you know John again, I always say there's only one John, right? John is unforgettable because you would always know John is in the room. So I would definitely refer to him as my jerk chicken.
I don't even know how to top that. If I had to describe Marcia as a food, in hindsight, I would have to say that she is Sunday dinner. It's consistent, flavorful, never boring, warmth, dependable, and family. You never get tired of it. And that's what Marcia reminds me as a food. Let's leave dessert for later. If our marriage is a movie, a title that comes to mind is this: Anchored in His Grace. I will attest that the last 30 years is possible because of God's favor and grace on our marriage. We would not be able to function properly and continue to move forward if it was not for His grace. And I believe because we decided before marriage to put God in the center, that has helped to keep our ship steady, no matter how the seas rage or the winds blow. God has kept us steady. So,
Yes, I couldn't agree more, right? With that title, it has to have some form of the word grace in it. Like John would have said, if it hasn't been for the Lord on our side, right? The grace that He has extended to us, we wouldn't have been here, sitting here today as a happy married couple. So God has been so faithful to us, and we are so thankful for His grace and His goodness that has sustained us. Like I said, we've been together for almost 32 years, and we've been married for 25 years, and it's only because of God's grace.
An awesome marriage doesn't just happen. It's built. And when you, as persons, as individuals, make the decision to make God, Christ, that foundation, all that helps in nurturing, developing, and having an awesome marriage. Our marriage isn't a fairy tale. Our marriage is God-driven and anchored by grace. I would say you have to remember this. No matter what challenges that you have during the course of your marriage, you're going to have to learn to grow to be able to say, sorry, let's address this, and let's grow from this. You have to remember that God is the center and that He's not this distant entity that doesn't talk back or communicate back. And once you have that in your marriage, there's no obstacle that you can't overcome. I'm John.
I'm Marcia.
And we're Team Laramore. And this is our Kingdom Love Story. Mwah.
At Bahamas Faith Ministries, we believe giving is an essential part of our worship and our commitment to advancing the kingdom of God. We have provided several convenient and secure ways for you to give and support the vision. Here are 4 ways to give. Number 1, visit our website at www.bfmionline.com and simply click the Give button. Number 2, place your gift in the seed box at the Miles E. Monroe Diplomat Center in Nassau, Bahamas, the place where God lives. Number 3, give by direct deposit in the Bahamas. Our bank is Bank of the Bahamas. The account name is Bahamas Faith Ministries. The account number is 135-000-0886. Our branch is Shirley Street, branch number 03157. After making your transfer, kindly email proof of payment to give@bfmionline.com so our finance team can promptly confirm and record your deposit. Number 4, give by credit card in person at the Miles E. Monroe Diplomat Center. Thank you for your generosity and faithful support. Together, we are fulfilling our mission to impact lives, influence nations, and advance the kingdom of God.
John and Marcia's story reminds us that the kingdom love is steady, intentional, and anchored in faith. Their journey shows us that when God is the foundation, love stands the test of time. As we close Love Stories, our prayer is that every story shared has inspired you to pursue love God's way, with faith, purpose, and commitment.